Skip that. Hello, and welcome to Intention Ascension. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that is very near and dear to me. I hold it close to my heart, and that is turning your mess into your message. So today, I was in a group, and we were talking about intentions based off of the friction that we've been through. So do you look back on your life and all of the things that you have done and all of the trauma that you've been through, the toxic relationships, physical, sexual, emotional abuse that you have endured, the different losses of jobs, of family, friends, and all the different chapters in your life and what each one of them actually means for you? Because we can take all of the things that we've been through and look at them like divine interventions, and they don't feel like it in the moment. And some people are like, well, I got caught up with the police and I went to jail for X amount of time, or I was doing this, or I didn't have this as a child. We didn't have any food in the home. And so I turned to drug dealing and I turned to the streets. I joined a gang because my family was never around, or I worked out at the gym because I was afraid of my own father and I had to build muscles so that way I could stand my ground and protect my siblings. Have you ever thought that maybe everything that you've been through, the times when you didn't have the money to put food on the table or cover the bills, or you faced that eviction notice, or you've had unfair things that were done to you and you had to fight for not only yourself, but for those who are around you that you love? It's time to take a look at all of the things that you have been through. So that way you can take it and apply it to what your purpose is. When you're able to do that, then you are so freaking powerful. You are a force to be reckoned with. Let me tell you, when you have been through it and you have experienced it, and you've been in that toxic relationship, you've taken back that abusive person before, you've been punched in the face by someone that you love and you make excuses for their behavior because you didn't have boundaries, because you didn't know your worth. You didn't think that your life was even worth living if you woke up mornings and wished that you hadn't. Have you laid in bed for days on end because of the depression that you've been in? Have you ever looked at other people and judged them because they didn't get up, they didn't want to shower, they didn't want to do anything, they didn't want to participate in the world? And then you find yourself there, lost, confused, broken. Ever had a family member who drank too much and you have years in your life where you've drank too much, where alcohol consumed you, where fentanyl consumed you, where what you were doing didn't seem productive at all at the time, but it was your coping mechanism for all the trauma that you've been in? That's your power. Make your mess into your message, because that is where you will be able to help others. You will know exactly what it feels like to have gone through those things. And if you look at those things like, I don't know why I went through it. I got the short end of the stick. I got a bad lane in life. I'm never going to amount to anything. My parents were emotionally abusive. I never went through any physical abuse. It wasn't that bad, but I was hungry. We didn't have electricity sometimes. I had to borrow clothes from my older siblings. The water wasn't on. I wasn't able to shower. My mom was an addict. I ended up in the system. There's a reason for why we go through the things that we go through. You have something to offer this world. And without all of that, without facing the adversity and coming through, if you're watching this video, you've been through all this stuff, you've been through other things, but you're here, you're breathing, you have a purpose, even if at times you wish that you didn't. You're here to serve others, to help others through what they've struggled with, what they're currently struggling with. It's time to look into your path. We just crossed over the 4th supermoon. Supermoon! You're a powerhouse. You have what it takes. If you're working your 8 to 8 to 5, 5:30, 9 to 5, and you don't feel fulfilled. You find yourself filling your time with things that don't even make any sense. You watch the same shows over and over and over again. You dread getting up. The weekends are too short, which they always are. You don't feel fulfilled. It's time to do something different. Get out your journal and just start writing. Start writing, because this is called intuitive messaging. It's not just journaling. I promise you, if you get out there and you start writing what you're thinking, all of a sudden you're going to be putting stuff on the paper that makes sense in this moment. But if you come back to it in like a month or so, a couple of weeks, couple of months, a year, and you read through it, you are going to see the hidden messages that were never you in the first place, but you talking to your future self. I can't tell you how many times I've picked up a journal and just flipped open a page and I'm like, whoa. Or I'm like, eesh, was I going through this same thing also last year and I haven't made the changes? But you forget. You forget about what you've gone through. But when you write it down and you hold on to it, you can't forget. You'll go through and you'll read those messages and it's like, oh, wow, I can't even believe I was aware of that at that time. That applies to exactly what I'm going through right now. It's beautiful. Creation of self is beautiful. If you've ever had to start a new job because you lost your last one and it didn't make any sense, or maybe it did, maybe you weren't happy and they fired you because your work performance was, and that's all right. That's an opportunity for growth, and we can spin it however we want to. But when things that are out of our control, you didn't put in your 2-week notice, you didn't decide to walk off the job, those are divine interventions, but it's up to you to figure out how you're going to handle it, how you're going to push through this. Like, do you have determination and motivation? Do you have perseverance or dedication? Do you have what it takes to flip a negative into a positive and recognize maybe I'm not in the right lane here? Maybe I need to be doing something different. And if you weren't able to recognize that at the time, what was the next job that you received? Is that something else that built in your skill level? Did it expand you in different ways? If it didn't, well, guess what? I guarantee you didn't know how to do that job before you got there. Even if you'd worked in a similar setting, you had a foundation to what you were doing, but you didn't know how specifically to fulfill every duty of that role when you got there. But you showed up because somebody else was paying you to at the time that they told you to, and you became who they wanted you to become. So what if you take that and you apply it to something different, like yourself, your dreams, your creation of what you want in your life? Look at that. You would be responsible, though, for yourself. You will wake up when you are supposed to. You will pay yourself and you will do something that you love. And you are able to do that with the motivation, determination, perseverance, dedication, whatever positive word you want to use, and that has to do with pushing forward and continuing on. You've already got it in you. You've done it for other people. People are willing to spend 30 years working for somebody else for a paycheck that they can guarantee than to spend 3 years creating what it was and finding themselves what it was that they were supposed to be, to find their passion, to find their love, to be able to spread their knowledge in ways that, like they say, when you do what you love, you feel like you don't work a day in your life. Do you feel like you're working? Or do you feel free? Because if you don't, turn your mess into your message. All right. I love you guys.